naked guns and body horror and bad guys and dogs and more this week in theaters and also for home streaming, and we'll check it all out. Welcome. This is the Screening Room Podcast.
Are either one of these any good?
Wow, this is a good movie.
It's pretty good.
Well, the director from yesterday doesn't think so.
It stinks.
You sorry? You waste our film.
It's so bad!
Welcome back in. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we are from MaddWolf.com. And we've got a few flicks, some big ones, some eagerly awaited flicks to check out in the theaters this week. And let's start with a return to a classic comedy from the 80s. First up in theaters, only one man has the particular set of skills to lead police squad and save the world. The rebooted Naked Gun. Rebooted from 88, I think it was. Late 80s, of course, the classic Leslie Nielsen that came from the TV show The Police Squad.
Yeah.
Which
My dad loved that show.
Which at the time, if you weren't there, was a totally different kind of humor. Since then, it's become, iconic. Everybody says, yes, I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. Yeah. And it's just something that we hadn't seen before, at least for many, many years on screen. And it was so fresh and funny. And then it benefited from Leslie Nielsen, who most moviegoers up until that time had only known as a dramatic actor. And suddenly he's pulling off these incredible deadpans that were just fantastic. And of course, he was in Airplane. He was the supporting role. Yeah. But then he went on to take over as Lieutenant Frank Drebin in this series of movies and the TV show. Just hilarious. And it was Zucker, Abrams, Zucker, and their very specific brand of humor, which when you look at rebooting it to try to get in the same vein, I think that's a tough assignment.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. And judging from the trailer, I'll be honest, I was not expecting much at all.
Really, and then they put out a number of trailers, and I think everyone
pretty darn funny, and a good way to reboot it with another LM or LN, a Leslie instead of Leslie Nielsen. You got Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr. Yep. And then he's paired up with, if you remember, the George Kennedy character, Ed Hawken. Well, now the new Frank Drebin Jr. is paired up with Ed Hawken Jr. and he's played by Paul Walter Hauser. Always another great.
He's always good.
Yeah,
he's always good.
Yeah, and this time the villain, speaking of always good,
oh my God,
is Danny Houston.
So great.
And the story follows a similar formula to the original Naked Gun. If you remember back then, you had Ricardo Montalban as the rich villain. Well, this time you've got an even richer villain, sort of an Elon Musk guy this time, played by Danny Houston.
So great.
It was just great to see. And then the femme fatale this time, the leading lady, is Pamela Anderson.
Nice.
Yeah, continuing her resurgence on screen. So that's great. And the co-writer and director here is Akiva Schaffer, who is part of the Lonely Island, which I think most of the time is pretty funny. Yeah. The stuff I've seen that they've done, pretty funny. But this time he's off with another couple of co-writers and taking inspiration from the original. Obviously. But really, I think he's got a good sense of what makes it work, because the humor is very, very much in the same vein. And they have a lot of stuff, as the original did, going on in the background. You got to look at what's written on the side of the police car door or what's going on over here and over there. So you're going to miss some things. I will tell you, watch out for that stuffed beaver, because they do find a way to get those callbacks in to the original film, even with a cameo or two. So some easy to spot, some not so much. But and this is a quick watch too, because even with the little added on sort of musical number at the end, it's barely an hour and 20 minutes. So it goes, but that's okay, because this type of humor can have a shelf life, I think. But the gags go off in all sorts of crazy directions. I mean, there's a killer snowman at one point. Why? It's hard to tell. but
I'm not against it.
Did I laugh at it? Yes. Yes, I did. And then there's talk of crab people with little crab hands. I mean, and a running gag about how much cops drink coffee, which is funny. So yes, it is funny, and especially when you have those low expectations that we did. Maybe it was a grand scheme. Maybe it was a grand plan. We're gonna put out these really bad trailers and just rope-a-dope people, lull people into thinking that it's not funny. But it is. And I think ahead of time if this sort of humor appeals to you, or maybe if you're a fan of the longtime series, the longtime films. But it is very specific, and I think it does a better job than I would have guessed at having an outside group of writers know why that type of humor is funny,
right,
and to replicate it,
right,
because it can easily go wrong. Something like, yes, I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley, even though that's from Airplane, I know. But in a different context, with a different line, with a different actor delivering it, can just fall flat. But
Neeson was such a charming delight as the cop in the Lego movies.
Mm-hmm.
He did the voice of it, of course, bad cop and good cop. And I think that showed us, maybe for the first time ever, that he can pull off comedy.
Yeah, he can. And of course, but he brings that history of roles to this, and they have fun with that. Yeah. They certainly have fun with that. And they also update the targets of the humor, which I think is appreciated and needed.
Yes.
Because that was late 80s. Come on. So I think it's a good job of it. And if they're planning more, I wouldn't be surprised, because the original was a series, and this one can be one too. And I think it's going to be a crowd pleaser. From everything that I'm hearing, even people like us who didn't really have great expectations. And I think there were more than a few, because I just don't know why.
Nobody thought that trailer was good.
I know. I just
everybody was worried when they saw it.
I don't know why. But yeah, it's silliness works in a very appealing way.
Yeah.
And I think all these characters, these actors, have a good time with it, and doing the deadpan and the straight face. And yeah, it's a good job. I think it's a good job as a reboot, and surprised me how much I laughed at the Naked Gun, which is now in theaters.
Next, years into their relationship, Tim and Millie find themselves at a crossroads as they move to the country. With tensions already flaring, an encounter with an unnatural force threatens to corrupt their lives, their love, and their flesh. It's Together.
And their flesh. This is one that you really have to look before you talk about how much the movie itself is giving away. Well, right there in that picture that we showed, it gives away some, because their arms are molding, into each other. And if you watch the trailer, it basically gives away what's going on. But it's a wild mix of elements. It's horror, it's body horror. It's also romantic and funny. And in the end, I think a lot of it is due to the chemistry of this actual married couple. Yeah. It works, and we had fun with this.
Yeah. Alison Brie and Alison Brie and Dave Franco do a really good job of selling the couple that's at the center of it, right? And she has taken a job in upstate New York. They've lived in New York City for a long time. They've been together for at least a decade. They're not married yet. He's a guitar player. He's kind of gonna hope to put out his next EP on his own, and now he kind of feels like a hostage because he doesn't have a job there. He doesn't have his driver's license even. So and what they say early on is, if we're going to break up, if we're going to
split,
we need to do it now.
And that's the key word. It's
going to be harder later.
If we're going to split. Right. Yeah.
And it proves to be a lot harder
and literal
and a lot messier when they try to split later. And I think, this movie does so many things right. It's from writer and director Michael Shanks. It's his first feature, it's incredibly assured for a first feature.
I think, did he work in TV?
I don't know.
Episodic?
He made a lot of shorts. He made a lot of shorts.
Okay.
And it benefits, first of all, from thanks to the substance in Coralie Fargy, the body horror is just everywhere now.
Yeah.
And I know I, for one, am thrilled by that. Longtime Cronenberg fan. I love that body horror is making such a big comeback. But it also benefits from a very specific but incredibly relatable anxiety. You know, there are a lot of films, horror movies, zombie movies, you know, sort of invasion of the body snatcher type movies that feed on this this fear of losing your identity, of like not being yourself anymore. But I think this really takes it to an incredibly relatable level, which is the idea that becoming part of a couple, you lose who you are. You stop to exist as an individual. And this mines that so effectively, but in a way that's not cynical at all. It's actually very sweet and romantic and so gross, which is a tone, you know, I've rarely seen pulled off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's really a very sweet and incredibly gross movie.
And I think it also benefits from that feeling that a lot of people will relate to, maybe that have been in a relationship that has gone on to the point of, you know, it's almost easier to stay together, but you really shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it minds that with that thing that they say more than once: if we don't split up now, it's going to be harder later. And in this case, much harder. And yeah, there's a lot of obvious natural chemistry between Bree and Franco. And I think for me, it did start out a little rough in the first, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. I thought some of the dialogue, to me anyway, was a little shaky as far as getting these characters to feel authentic. But once it got its footing, I thought it really, then it was off and running, and really had a good narrative pace about it. And you could really hold on to what it was doing, because when they go off to this new place where they live out in the country, there's one neighbor, I think somewhat a little bit down the road, and then she's a teacher, and they go off hiking and get into this weird area that works on them spiritually. It affects them, so that then they find themselves drawn to each other in a very scary way. And some of the camera work, some of the effects while they're doing that and trying to maybe, you know, hold on to something and don't run into each other, is pretty cool.
It is.
You know, it's some nifty camera work.
Yeah.
And then there's a bit of a mystery involved with, once they get it's her coworker, another teacher, and then he actually lives close to them, and I forget the actor.
Damon Harriman. Who's great
Damon
in everything.
Harriman, yeah.
One of the most reliable character actors out there.
Yeah. He knows more than he's letting on about what's happening here. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's freaky. It's one that, you know, as we said, and I think we weren't the only ones, it's a good date night movie. Just don't go to dinner first.
That's right. Go on an empty stomach. Yeah. This is kind of gross.
Yeah,
gross.
but it
in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. You're right. Body horror is hot right now,
Yeah.
and this has definitely serves it up in a way that makes you think about relationships as well as the body horror, because it does, as most good horror does, almost all good horror does. It has something to say. This one more about intimate relationships than say a political climate.
Right.
You know, we've seen a lot of those lately, and that's great. We love those too. But this one gets very taking on the relationships and what each party is bringing or maybe not, and what they're afraid of. And it works.
Yeah,
it works. It's well done, and an ending that will get people talking.
I think so.
Let's put it that way, in a good way.
Yeah.
So when you go to the date and you go to the movie first, and then you'll have something to talk about at dinner.
Right.
Later.
After. Right.
You can dissect this movie. And maybe wouldn't it be wild to go to a first date with this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Now that would be a test.
That
would be a test.
Yeah.
So what'd you think?
I think maybe don't put yourself through
Maybe not. Maybe not on a first date.
I don't think that's a good
Or
idea.
do it, film it, and or you know, live stream it or whatever. No, we don't want to do that. But just report back.
That's true. If you do it, report back.
Yeah, but a good start too, like you said, for Michael Shanks.
Yeah.
For his first writing and directing. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
that's
sure.
a good sign of things to come.
Can't wait to see what he does next.
Yeah, exactly. But right now, riding high with this one, and we recommend it. It is Together in theaters, big screen right now.
Next in theaters, a girl marked for death must fight and steal to stay alive, learning from the most frightening man she knows, her father. It's an adaptation of Jordan Harper's award-winning novel, She Rides Shotgun.
Boy, this one was really well done. And I'll tell you right now, part of it is because this features one of the best child performances that we have seen in years. Anna Sophia Hager. She's great.
She's
now,
so good.
we have not seen her before, but she was in a movie called Things Seen and Heard, which we didn't see. I didn't see it. With Amanda Seyfried. And then a TV show called Life in Pieces, I think. So she's had a few things, but oh my Lord, she's so good in this. And she plays a young girl, 9-year-old girl named Polly, who is waiting after school, and her mom never comes to pick up, and then suddenly, after hours, her dad, Nate, played by Taron Egerton, comes to pick her up. And you can tell right away she's wary. She knows he's a bad guy. He's a violent guy. Doesn't really want to get in the car with him. But you can probably guess why mom isn't coming.
Yeah.
And dad lets her know that, you could be next. We got to go. So she does get in the car with him. And right away, the two actors, Taron Egerton and Anna Sophia Hager, they have such great chemistry.
It's amazing.
Right from the start. It is amazing. And the writer-director here is Nick, or the co-writer-director is Nick Rowland. And he did a film a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Calm with Horses. That was very good. And it was also an adaptation of that one was a story. This one is an adaptation of a novel. By Jordan Harper. But it covers some of the same territory. Calm with Horses was about generational violence, but it was so Irish. It was such an Irish movie.
Yeah.
And I recommend it, by the way. Look it up. This one is very American. This one is dealing with the very well-known American tragedy of the meth epidemic. And they're in the Southwest here. And the undercurrent of crime is about the meth epidemic and the big crime area, crime syndicate, I guess, that has
John Carroll Lynch.
Yeah, John Carroll Lynch, who's the sheriff, but he's a very crooked sheriff, and he's got a nasty, sadistic streak. But he's another great actor who you love to see dig into a part like this, and he's a bit unrecognizable. You're never quite sure in what order scenes are shot. But I would almost want to ask the director, like, did he start pushing her more when he realized what he had?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in the audition process, he knew this girl was talented. But as it goes on, the dramatics get so heavy, and she does not shrink from it at all. And it's very character based. They have tender conversations about her asking about his relationship with her mother, and then another woman who comes into the picture and what's going on. It's so tender and character based and insightful, and it's exciting too. I mean, it covers ground for a crime thriller that it's not new.
Right.
He's trying to get redemption. Dad is. He's got this one mission where he can settle scores and maybe wipe his slate clean. And yeah, we've seen that. That's not new. But the pacing, the camera work, the performances all give you something new to look at and to wonder about. And this performance, and it leads to the finale, which if you had any question about the kind of trust that this director puts in this young girl, she's it with the finale. It's a long, slow close-up, unbroken. And I'm telling you, there are veteran actors that couldn't pull this off any better. It's so good, and just with no dialogue, almost, I think, just delivers that final shot that makes the film just hit that much harder. She's so good, I can't even tell you. She's
and it's nice to see Taron Egerton kind of play against type.
Yeah,
as the tough guy, as the
Oh yeah, he's scary and taut, and
yeah.
And then when he gets his scenes one-on-one with John Carroll Lynch, I mean, that's some good stuff there.
Yes.
Good acting all around. But this girl has a future for, I don't know how old she is now, maybe 10 or 11, but she's playing a 9-year-old girl in this movie, and certainly looks it. But I would say at this point, her future is boundless. I mean, she is fantastic, but everybody is. And there's a lot to recommend for this. If you like a good crime thriller, here is one, and it's in theaters now. It's called She Rides Shotgun.
An animated sequel next. The bad guys are struggling to find trust and acceptance in their
Technical difficulties.
We are having
An animated sequel next. The bad guys are struggling to find trust and acceptance in their newly minted lives as good guys when they are pulled out of retirement and forced to do one last job by an all-female squad of criminals in The Bad Guys 2.
this one. So I didn't see the first one. You saw the first one.
Yeah, and I liked it. It's funny. The thing that I remember almost as much as I remember the original Bad Guys is that I think it came out around the same time as Zootopia. And now you've got Zootopia.
Yeah.
We're starting to see Zootopia 2 as well. And I loved Zootopia so much that it almost, it sort of clouded how much I liked the original Bad Guys. But I did enjoy the Bad Guys.
Yeah, a lot. And it's the sequel is really quite fun. It's a heist movie. They're always fun, right? You've got sort of that built-in element of fun, of energy. And the vocal cast here is crazy great. So it's Sam Rockwell and Craig Robinson and Awkwafina and Mark Maron and Anthony Ramos. That's just your core five.
Good.
They're so good. And they have this lived-in, mischievous, fun banter among the five of them. And they've gone straight. They've done their time. But now they're realizing that they really can't get jobs because they're all known master criminals and who wants to hire them. And so they're down on their luck. And as they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, there's this rash of copycat crimes that use their trademark confetti explosion. So everybody thinks the bad guys are bad guys again. And then what happens is they get blackmailed by the copycats into this new heist.
One last job
to clear their names. And then Wolf, Sam Rockwell, starts to wonder, maybe we're not cut out to be good guys. Maybe we like being bad guys. Maybe are we good bad guys who turn good guys who are now pretending to be bad guys so we can be good guys again? Or are we really just going to be bad guys again? It's hard to know. It's very existential. The plot actually gets maybe needlessly complicated, especially for very little kids. The actual plot thread is going to be a little bit hard to follow, but it's a ton of fun. And so I don't think that they're going to, get bored. Certainly. The animation is really sharp, really interesting. They'll all of a sudden turn to like an anime still and then go back to what they were doing. All of the vocal cast is great. And I
think the animation is definitely one way. If you're saying, well, is this better than the first one? I think the animation does make a step up from the first Bad Guys.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just really fun. It's very vibrant. They make the most of these characters. And with as many characters as you have, usually the side characters kind of fall over the side and you don't really they're very invested in the camaraderie among these people, among these animals. And they're funny. They're really quite funny. And then they had a lot of new characters, and in particular, Natasha Lyonne. Now, Awkwafina is born to do voice work, but so is, I'll tell you what, Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah.
She's so perfect.
Her voice is great. And I mean, Sam Rockwell has a great voice. But these are great voices made for some voice acting.
Yeah, and they know what they're doing. And it is. A lot goes on. A lot. But it's never not fun. It's always you're always wondering what's going to happen next. You're never not engaged. There were a ton of children in the screening that I was at. Everybody seemed to really enjoy themselves. There's a lot of laughter. Adults as well. They have a lot of Easter eggs. There's an extended Silence of the Lambs homage, which could have not possibly pleased me anymore. But there are a lot of those things. There's also Colin Jost plays a Mark. He is a man who is marrying way above his pay grade, so that's funny.
What?
I know. there's just a lot of really funny bits to entertain adults, but it's also really clever fun for kids. There are 3 kisses in this movie, and the 9-year-old boy next to me had his fill by number 3. I thought he was gonna leave, but other than that, I think
this is gratuitous.
He was like,
the smooching.
But other than that, I think all of the kids. I mean, I can't imagine kids not enjoying this movie. I had a riot. Yeah. I loved it.
Oh yeah, that is great. So and we also, as we said, are getting Zootopia 2. So I guess these 2 franchises are kind of going off in tandem, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm expecting Zootopia 2 to be good as well. So, but we get this one first, and it's in theaters now, and yeah, it's a good one for the kids, and the adults will get something out of it too. The Bad Guys 2.
Next, Yoshi, a young man who resells goods online, finds himself at the center of a series of mysterious events that put his life at risk in Cloud.
I was very excited about this one. Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who did, he's done a million
Kurosawa.
movies. Yeah, the other one. Pulse, he did Cure. He's done a lot of really, really, really unsettling classic horror films and a lot of dramas and a lot of sci-fi. I mean, he's just done a lot of work, but and all of
This
really
one sort of follows a theme.
Yeah,
for
it does.
him.
Yeah. Well, he seems to he likes to swim these waters where, it explores individual loneliness and sort of an epidemic of loneliness as it relates to this idea of something on the other side of usually sort of the digital veil,
Right.
like something in the digital world is
Mhm.
trying to get over here.
Mhm.
And then sometimes it's like supernatural, and sometimes, at least one time, it was aliens. And in this case, what I think is funny about it is that he almost turns it upside down because the lead character, Yoshi, he's a reseller. So he kind of bilks people out of their items, and then he way underpays for them, and then he sells them online for a huge markup, but usually they're knockoffs. Anyway, a lot of people don't like Yoshi. And so he decides he's going to leave Tokyo with his girlfriend, and he's going to move far away where nobody can find him, where he can do even more of this in bulk. And so you feel like everything that's happening, these sort of weird coincidences and these sort of ominous happenings, feel like a Kurosawa sort of something is coming to get him from the other side. And then once you get to Act 3, you realize it's people who are coming to get him from the other side. And it's just fascinating the way it turns. I mean, he builds in this sort of same atmosphere that you might be used to from his films. And then Act 3, blam, we're in a whole other movie. It's there's a lot of sort of comedic element, at least a comedic edge to it. There's a great deal of violence. It's very sloppy violence. Like, it's not the sort of elegant, eerie violence that you usually find in his films. I mean, it's just like slap happy, bloody. The characters who show up are really this amazing assortment of oddballs. It's a lot of fun, which is not usually a word that you use for one of his films. But at the same time, it's got the same thread all the way through it about loneliness and about sort of our place in the larger world. It's fascinating the way he can reconsider these same ideas that he has really talked about in all of his films.
Yeah, and about how in all this technology that has so much potential to bring us together is so often making us even more isolated.
Right. Yes.
This another rumination on that,
Yeah.
which is certainly a big topic today because we see it all the time.
Yeah.
But good storytellers can find good ways to still examine that same theme,
Yes.
but in a different way. And
Yeah.
that seems to be the digital realm, seems to be his playground.
Yeah.
But it's always good to see another one from. And you'd call this, well, I'm looking at IMDb now and how they're labeling it, psychological horror,
Or
more of a thriller.
I would say it's more of a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I was kind of expecting more of a horror film, and it's definitely more of a thriller. And in the end, it's a fun one, honestly.
Got a couple of those.
Yeah.
A couple of those this week. So yeah, Cloud, which is now.
And one more in theaters. Teenagers attend a folk high school in Arctic Norway, relying on themselves, peers, and sled dogs as they navigate the path to adulthood and uncharted personal growth. It's Folktales.
Doggies
Yeah.
in
Brandon.
Norway.
Yeah, Brandon Thomas reviewed this one for us. Sucker for the dogs he is, but still, you knew it was going to be a
Oh,
great
yeah.
documentary because it's Heidi Ewing and Rachel Grady, who are often Oscar-nominated documentarians. They did Jesus Camp, among other things, Boys of Baccarat. And this one, it follows students who take a gap year after high school, and they attend this school where they learn in Norway, where they learn to kind of live off the land while they train sled dogs. So they each get their own sled dog to train, and it's a beautiful, visually, just a stunningly shot movie.
Yeah.
The snow and the woods and the trees and these dogs, which of course could not be more beautiful, and they're
Yeah.
sort of, they're the blue eyes on a husky, and how they are just simultaneously sort of beautiful and intimidating, and you can sort of see them get to know these kids,
Right.
and that just mirrors sort of the larger, I think, themes of the film.
Yeah, because as Brandon pointed out, these young people are in an age of life where they're learning to be adults.
Yeah.
Now, their task is to train these sled dogs, but yet the sled dogs are teaching the kids as well. And the sled dogs, as Brandon pointed out, are very instinctive about, they can sense the way these young adults are feeling.
Yeah, your anxiety,
and they're
your
tied
nervousness,
into it.
yeah.
And it's just a wonder with these dogs. And the way they interact, teach each other, lean on each other, learn from each other is a thing to behold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a gorgeous movie.
Yeah. And by all means, check out Brandon Thomas's review at MaddWolf.com. And we've got it posted on all of our socials as well. But he gave a big 4 stars.
4 stars. And also, I feel like this is one, you know, it'll be streaming eventually, of course, but this is just one of those movies that, you know, it's just going to be such a lovely thing to see in a big screen. Let it wash over you. So
lovely. Exactly.
Maybe check it out now.
Maybe check it out. Hopefully it's in your area because it is in theaters first. But yeah, it probably will be coming to streaming soon. But if there's a chance to see this sort of beauty on the big screen, take advantage of it. Yeah, and that is called Folktales.
Yep.
And that is out there now. Okay, well, the Schlocketeer. Unavailable this week. So no schlocking and rolling for us this week. But we'll catch up. That just means double the news and notes next week when we check back in. But speaking of next week, boy, we've got one that we are looking forward to, and that is Weapons.
Cannot wait.
Everything we keep hearing has us very, very excited. So we'll talk about Weapons next week.
Also, Freakier Friday.
Also, one we just saw the other night, a horror film called Strange Harvest.
And another one we have already seen, quite a delightful, actually, movie called Sketch.
Oh, and another one we've already seen that this will be fun to talk about, Ebony and Ivory. Have you seen The Greasy Strangler? Same filmmaker. Oh, we love The Greasy Strangler so much. And even an Evening with Beverly Loughlin, which he did as well. This one is a different animal, Ebony and Ivory. We'll talk about that next week.
Yes, also Birthright.
One called It's Never Over, Jeff Buckley, another film about Jeff Buckley.
Right. And then one called Shaman and Animale.
So we'll talk about those next week and probably get back in touch with the Schlocketeer to get hip to the latest studio movings and shakings. But what about this week? There's some good ones to talk. Oh, let's talk books. Let's talk books for just 1 second. You already know Hope has her new novel is out now. We talked about that already. And that one is in the bookstores now, but she also has a brand new short story out in this anthology.
That's right. Speculation Publications. Look them up. They have a ton of great books. I love all of their books, and I'm really honored that I have a short story that is in this one. It's called Vampire Hunters, and it's an anthology of journal entries from vampire hunters. And I have one in here called Birds and Beasts, but so far I'm loving all of them. So get yourself a copy.
And it's got a cool illustration in there too.
It does.
Yeah. And the novel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Killer Pictures out now. So a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff going on. So keep in touch. You can always find us. The main website is MaddWolf.com, all the written reviews and other fun stuff. And then you can catch up with all the book stuff and the movie stuff and all the shenanigans on all of our socials. And that's MaddWolf Columbus. That's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's on Blue Sky and Threads. So let's hook up all over the place.
Let's do it.
And talk movies or maybe some books. It's all good. Until then, enjoy the rest of the summer, because I don't know where you are, where we are. It is beautiful today. Just beautiful. We're probably going to get hit with those 90s again here before too long.
But we'll sit outside until then.
We'll sit outside until then. So enjoy it. Keep in touch. Be well. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast.
See ya.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.